what's really cool wandering around here is that we're seeing now this huge excitement to bring innovation, development, adventure back to Bitcoin. For a long time, most people have thought of Bitcoin as like the more boring place in crypto. Now, it wasn't always like that. In 2011, 2012, 2013, if you go to the archives of Bitcoin Talk forum, it was absolute insanity. All of the ideas, all of the experiments that we're still running today, everything from ZK to privacy to decentralized exchanges to proof of stake to NFTs, all of those things were being discussed and planned on Bitcoin Talk. And the idea was to bring them to Bitcoin. And the first attempts around building smart contract layers, meta protocols, happened on Bitcoin around 2013. There were two primary examples. The first, which tried to bring tokens to Bitcoin, was called colored coins. And it was a protocol, a meta protocol, that you could take sats and mark them and start moving those sats around and have them represent all kinds of different assets or tokens. One of the people who was working on that was this weird dude called Vitalik. And then there was another protocol called Mastercoin. And Mastercoin was this way of trying to build smart contracts on Bitcoin. And both of those projects ran in face forward into the limitations of Bitcoin. So there was a huge amount of excitement, lots of effort went into it, really brilliant developers working on them, and they ran into like the glass window in the same way like a bird flies into one. And the result was that some of the people, like Vitalik, became so disillusioned that they went to try and build in other ecosystems. And so, we got things like Ethereum and all kinds of other things. But the weird thing is that the biggest, most valuable product that was ever built in the crypto space, to this day, was built on that very first Bitcoin smart contract platform. It was built on Mastercoin. And it was called Tether. So Tether today, huge, 120 or $130 billion, massively profitable project, prints money. That was the first killer app of tokenization outside of BTC. And it happened on Bitcoin. Now, I look around here, and again, 10 years later, we've sort of come full circle, and we're seeing a huge amount of excitement. We're going to be building roll-ups and sidechains and tokens and meta protocols on Bitcoin. And the question I would ask is, will this end in the same way? Has anything fundamentally changed that these systems will succeed where colored coins and Mastercoin failed? And the answer is, well, I'll give you the answer at the end. So, in order to be able to solve the problem that colored coins and Mastercoin have, and that all of the projects that are here today have, we need to be able to do two things. We need to be able to expand the two primary products of Bitcoin. The first product of Bitcoin is BTC, and we need to be able to trustlessly transport BTC into these meta protocols, into these layer 2s, into these rollups, because otherwise it's great that you've got a system which is affiliated with Bitcoin and wants to work with Bitcoin, but in order to use it, you need to put your Bitcoin into somebody else's multisig, and that is a very, very scary proposition for very, very good reasons. The second thing that Bitcoin creates is Bitcoin's consensus security, the most secure, unchanging system in the world, reliable network, a reliable base settlement system, something which I call permaware as opposed to software, right? If Ethereum is software or Solana is software changing every 6 months, Bitcoin has the advantage of always being the same thing, which makes it the perfect system on which to build a world of assets and transactions. So we need to be able to bridge BTC and Bitcoin assets, and we need to be able to bridge Bitcoin security and Bitcoin consensus. And that is the challenge. If we cannot do those things, all of the projects fail. So the question is, has something changed? And the answer is yes. Over the last few years, there's been significant work to figure out how can we take these complicated executions, right? Build things like smart contracts so that they can be secured and operate on Bitcoin, so that they can move BTC trustlessly. And over the last few months, basically since January, when there was a major breakthrough, which I'm glad to say we were part of, we managed to demonstrate that you can do this by compiling the code down to a ZK proof and then proving that ZK proof on Bitcoin. So we published a white paper about this in April of this year, which we called BitSnark and Grail, which were the two tools that we were introducing in order to make it possible to verify smart contracts through ZK on Bitcoin. And then, 7 weeks ago at Bitcoin Nashville, for the first time, we were able to demonstrate the ability to verify ZK on Bitcoin. Bitcoin mainnet, no changes, no new opcodes, no soft forks needed. And most people still don't recognize how significant this is. For the last 10 years, we've seen the entire world of crypto break into two. The people who continue to work on Bitcoin, the most secure network, and the people who felt that they needed to work on features and functionality. Features and functionality without security is failing. And Bitcoin without functionality is failing too. But now, for the first time ever, and this is the reason I think we're seeing so much excitement in the Bitcoin space, there is the ability to once again combine these, and this time it can actually work. So we've built out some of this core technology, and we've been able to demonstrate it live on mainnet. And now the next step is for us to be able to build a universal compiler for Bitcoin so that any VM, any code can be compiled to Bitcoin, so that projects that are building rollups can prove the state of the rollup to a ZK proof and actually write that proof to Bitcoin and use that for transaction ordering, so that bridging can be done trustlessly without having to rely on a multisig or an MPC or an honest majority. So basically, you always remain in control of your Bitcoin. And that is what we're working on with BitcoinOS. We are now in the process of rolling out the systems which are going to make it really easy for developers of rollups, developers of programmable token protocols, developers of smart contracts on Bitcoin to plug into a unified OS, a unified Bitcoin operating system that turns Bitcoin into not just the world's most secure system, but also into the world's most secure compute system. A system of shared computation that can be used not just to record the world's assets, but also to manage the world's assets. And to do so in a way that through layer 2s and through rollups can be scaling. Or to put it very, very simply, all of us in the Bitcoin space have had the same thing missing for the last 15 years. Something so fundamental and so universally required that I call it the Holy Grail. And that is the ability to trustlessly bridge BTC and Bitcoin consensus to other layers. We finally have that. We have it on mainnet. This is going to mean that we're all new to Bitcoin again, and that Bitcoin is new to us. It's extremely exciting, and I think we have basically just closed chapter 1 of the Bitcoin story, and we're opening up chapter 2, which is going to be bigger, better, and more exciting. And with that, what I'd like to do is open up to any questions you guys might have about how it works, how you can use it, what the technology is, or maybe what the implications are for how crypto and Bitcoin might evolve further. Thanks for listening.